Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Coronation Street spoilers: Jenny and Daisy plan a Rovers Return reopening this week on Coronation Street. Jenny and Daisy hatch a cunning plan to buy the Rovers. Tony's patience with Ed finally wears out, and Cassie comes to Roy's rescue when his Woody lets him down. A return to the Rovers Return is finally within grasp for Jenny, Sally and Matthews, and Daisy, Charlotte Jordan, this week, but with what means? Jenny and Carla, Allison King, were quick to realize last week that the key to finding out where Stephen, Todd Boyce, had hidden the money he stole from Underworld only hours before death could lay in his journal. Knowing that the finances could be in a hidden account, which Jenny found evidence of in the form of a password-protected file on Stephen's laptop, the pair wonder whether the journal could contain the password somewhere in it. Yet this week, their efforts to persuade Audrey to let them borrow the journal come to no avail, so it seems like it could be back to the drawing board. Daisy tells Jenny that she shouldn't give up. Although the money had come from Underworld, she feels Jenny is owed some of it considering Stephen's betrayal, and it could be used for good by reopening the Rovers. When the Platts are brought together for a family gathering at the bistro, Daisy comes up with a plan when she spots all of their coats handing up. Sneakily stealing David's keys to number 8, Daisy lets herself in and starts her search for the journal. But when Audrey arrives back sooner than expected, Daisy is forced to scarper upstairs. Will she be discovered? Meanwhile, when Carla has some good news of her own, Jenny wonders whether she would be willing to lend her some money to apply for a mortgage to buy the Rovers, but how will Carla react? Whether either of Jenny and Daisy's plans come to fruition is something we're sworn to secrecy over, but later in the week, Jenny and Daisy tell Dee Dee, Shanique Sterling Brown, that they're heading to the bank in the hope of securing a loan to buy the Rovers back. Over in the cabin, the pair later inform Brian, Peter Gunn, and Mary, Patty Claire, that the loan has been approved, and that the Rovers will soon be back in their hands. However, there's a small catch when Jenny later hears that Waterfords have received another offer for the pub, and she tells Daisy that, as a result, they'll now have to submit a sealed bid. Will they overcome this final hurdle? Meanwhile, at number 3, Ed's, Trevor Michael George, financial troubles continue to snowball with the entire family's Christmas now under threat. The Baileys are first delivered a blow when they learn that matriarch Aggie, Lorna Laidlaw, will not be able to return home for Christmas. Aggie has been off-screen since June, caring for her Aunt Marcelle in Birmingham who has been taken ill. Despite this, the family are determined to make the festive season special for 2-year-old Glory, Eleanor Beckles. Unfortunately, in Aggie's absence, Ed has fallen back into the gambling ways that nearly ripped his family apart before they moved to Weatherfield. Ed's secret has come close to being revealed by his friend Tony, Sean Cerno, who he employed to complete the alterations needed at Paul's, Peter Ash, flat following his MND diagnosis. Unfortunately, Paul was still waiting for his disability grant to come through to help pay it, and so it was Tony that was left out of pocket. Every time Ed has come into money since then, including taking a credit card out in the name of former number 3 resident Norris Cole, he has ended up trying to accumulate more by placing it on the horses. Having come clean to Tony about his problems, laying bare the reasons he's so far been unable to pay him, Tony threatened to tell Ed's brother Ronnie, Vinta Morgan, about his addiction, but let Ed off with a warning that he'll be expecting his money ASAP. This week, Ed's father Sarge, Ram John Holder, insists on contributing towards the Christmas dinner, but Ed instead uses the money to bet on a horse in the hope of paying off a payday loan. When Paul finally gives Ed the news that his grant has come through, and the money is waiting for him at home, Ed is relieved, knowing he can finally pay Tony. However, he's torn when he returns home to find that Sarge has already taken the wad of cash, believing it to be the £1,000 that Ed has promised to lend him for his food truck business. Ed can't bring himself to take the money back from Sarge, so he's left back at square one. This doesn't please Tony when he later comes into the bistro to find Ed, who has just been given a bunch of 20s by Ronnie for drinks, splashing the cash and buying a round for everyone. Tony is quick to confront Ed, who warns him that he wants his money tomorrow. He has his own family's Christmas to think about after all. The next day, knowing that he's backed into a corner, Ed packs his bags and calls Aggie to tell her that he's heading down to spend Christmas with her. But just as he's about to leave, Tony barges in, threatening to take the phone and tell Aggie everything. As it becomes clear that Ed still doesn't have his money, Tony's patience finally wears out, and he punches Ed in the face. Meanwhile, back at the bistro, Michael, Ryan Thingy, is showing Ronnie and Sarge the gift he's bought Ed for Christmas, a fancy watch, engraved with the world's best dad. Our hero. But when Michael, Dee Dee and Sarge later return to number 3, they find a devastated Ed nursing a bust lip, and all the presents under the tree now gone. Also this week, with Tyrone, Alan Halsall, planning to take the kids to Norfolk to see Mum Fizz, Jenny McAlpine, this Christmas, and with Evelyn, Maureen Lipman, looking forward to spending her Christmas day with Roy, David Nielsen, they soon realize that Cassie, Claire Sweeney, is going to be left on her own. With a nudge from Tyrone, Evelyn reluctantly invites her daughter to spend Christmas with her and Roy. Meanwhile, in the cafe, Roy manages to twinge his back. Whilst Debbie, Sue Devaney, helps Roy hobble upstairs to lie down, Evelyn sticks on a penny and promises to cover Roy's shift. But how will the customers take to Evelyn behind the counter? After overhearing Evelyn talking about the Christmas gift she's got Roy, Cassie is able to come up with a suitable suggestion for Roy as to what he can give Evelyn in return. Roy's search for said gift proves fruitful, but the only drawback is that it requires a bit of a road trip to collect it. Cassie insists on accompanying Roy, but they run into a snag when they can't get Roy's beloved Woody fired up. Cassie has an idea, and dashes off, soon returning at the wheel of a swanky Porsche SUV. As a somewhat stunned Roy hops in, what could possibly go wrong? Note to the Corey producers, we'd pay good money to see a Roy and Cassie hit the road spin-off. This week on Coronation Street, Peter and Carla come to terms with the idea of breaking up, as Peter's departure from the show draws near.